of 1889 was bursting with gaiety and excitement because of the International Exposition. Thousands of visitors from all corners of the world crowded every hotel, inn, and boarding house. Rooms for rent were a rarity, and everywhere in the metropolis, the hotel rates and house rents were roaring sky high. Rizal, fresh from London, was caught in the whirl of gay Parisian life. Despite the social parties and his romance with Adelina Bausted, he continued his fruitful artistic, literary, and patriotic labors. He published his annotated edition of Morga's Sucesos, founded two Filipino societies, the Kidlat Club and the Indios Bravos, and wrote Por Telefono and a satire against Father Salvador Pon.
Difficulty of finding living quarters. In March 1889, it was extremely difficult for a visitor to find living quarters in Paris. The International Exposition 1889 had attracted thousands of tourists so that all hotel accommodations were taken. He transferred his residence several times, moving from one hotel to another, from one boarding house to another. Finally, he lived in a little room together with two other Filipinos, Capitan Justo Trinidad, former Gobernador Silio of Santa Ana, Manila, and a refugee from Spanish tyranny, and Jose Albert, a young student from Manila.
Life in Paris. Although life in Paris was gay, with sparkling merriment and joyous social parties, Rizal continued to be busy in his serious pursuits. Hours were too precious for him to waste. He spent them frugal and fruitfully. In his spare hours, Rizal used to dine at the homes of his friends such as the Pardo, the Taveras, the Ventura, the Ramirez, and the Rochas. He was a good friend of the three Pardo de Taveras. Dr. Trinidad H. Pardo de Tavera, the physician by vocation and psychologist by avocation. Dr. Felix Pardo de Tavera, also a physician by vocation and an artist and sculptor by avocation. And Paz Pardo de Tavera, the wife of Juan Luna. These Pardo Tavera were the children of Don Joaquin Pardo de Tavera, an exile of 1872 who escaped from the Marianas and lived in France. According to Dr. Felix Pardo de Tavera, Rizal was very fond of the Philippine dishes. Rizal was also a frequent visitor of the Bausted family at number 3 Rue de Basins. Mr. Edward Bausted was born in the Philippines, the son of a rich French businessman of Singapore, and had married the daughter of the prominent Ganato family of Manila. Because of his happy sojourn in Manila and his charming Filipino wife, he welcomed all Filipinos at his home in Paris and at his villa in Biarritz, France. He particularly took a great liking for Rizal, whose splendid talents amazed him. He had two attractive daughters named Nellie and Adelina. In Paris, Rizal continued his study of languages. He perfected his French so that he could speak and write it like a Frenchman.
On Sundays, he attended the fencing lessons at the studio of Luna, which were given by a French fencing master. He fenced with the Luna brothers, Juanin Antonio, Valentin, Ventura, and the Bausted sisters. Nellie was good fencers and Rizal enjoyed crossing boys with her. Moreover, he carried on his artistic hobby. He made two statues, the beggar and the maid with the basket, which he sent to Blumentritt together with an artistic wallet, petaka, made of Philippine vine nito. The two clubs founded by Rizal, the Kidlat Club and Indios Bravos.
Towards the end of March 1889, shortly after his arrival in Paris, Rizal organized his paisanos into a society called Kidlat Club. Among the members were Antonio and Juan Luna and Loro de Magiba. It was founded by Rizal simply to bring together the young Filipinos in the French capital so that they could enjoy their sojourn in the city during the international expedition. The Indian Bravos, Rizal and the members of the Kidlat Club usually went sightseeing at the expedition grounds in one group. Rizal, who could speak French fluently, acted as their guide and interpreter. In one of their sightseeing trips, they saw Buffalo Bill's troop and were impressed by the American Indians, wearing war paints and feathers, proudly riding their horses like centaurs. The tall, dignified, proud, and powerfully built Indians ignited Rizal's imagination. Thus, a new society of Filipino Indian Bravos was born in Paris. It replaced the Kidlat Club.
The two magnificent projects of Rizal in Paris, the International Association of Filipino and the Modern Filipino College in Hong Kong, International Association of Filipino taking advantage of world attention, which was the focus at the International Exposition of 1889 in Paris. Rizal proposed to establish an international association of Filipinologists and have its inaugural convention in the French capital. He first broached this idea of Blumentritt in a letter dated January 14, 1889, and the letter gladly supported him. According to his prospectus, the aim of the association is to study the Philippines from the scientific and historical point of view. The officers of International Associations of Filipinologists were as follows. The president, who is Dr. Ferdinand Blumentritt, Austrian. The vice president, who is Mr. Edmund Lochot, French. The councillor, who is Dr. Reinhold Ross, Anglo-German. The councillor, who is Dr. Antonio Regidor, Filipino-Spanish. The secretary, who is Dr. Sersan.
Modern Filipino College in Hong Kong. Another magnificent project of Rizal in Paris, which also fizzled out, was his plan to establish a modern college in Hong Kong. He wrote to his friend Jose Maria Basa about this matter. According to Rizal, this college aims to train and educate men of good family and financial means in accordance with the demands of modern times and circumstances. A rich Filipino resident in Paris, Mr. Tunanan, promised to help him raise 40,000 as initial capital for the college.
We have mentioned before the Rizal defended this knowledge from the slanderous attack of Fray Jose Rodriguez by penning a satirical booklet entitled La Vision del Fray Rodriguez. In the fall of 1889, he wrote another satirical work entitled Por Telefono as a reply to another slanderer, Father Salvador Font, who masterminded the banning of this knowledge. Por Telefono was published in booklet form in Barcelona. 1889, Rizal received the printed copies from Mariano Pons, revealed by his letter to the later date Paris, August 13, 1889. This satirical pamphlet under the authorship of Dimas Alac. One of Rizal's friend's names is a weekly satire which ridiculous Father Font. It describes in comical vein Father Font and a friar in the San Agustin convent in Manila.
Rizal had another romantic affair in Paris. This time it was the Adelina Belsted, younger sister of vivacious Nelly. He grew fond of her instead of the athletic Nelly, because she was quiet, dignified, and refined. On the other hand, the gay-hearted, sports-minded Nelly was attracted to Antonio Luna, a dashing man of violent passions. Both Rizal and Luna were frequent visitors at the Bastard home in Paris. Nellie was attracted by the talented Rizal, with whom she was infatuated. Rizal, however, loved Adelina. Luna was madly in love with Nellie, but the latter did not reciprocate his affection. On November 16, 1889, Luna wrote to Rizal, announcing his trip to Barcelona to seek a duel with Mir Diaz, Spanish newspaperman who was writing articles against the Filipinos.
Fortunately or unfortunately, his marriage proposal did not propose for three reasons. 1. Adelina was not sure he loved her because of his broken engagement with Leonor Rivera. 2. Rizal refused to accept the conditions that he become a Protestant like her. And 3. Adelina's mother opposed the match because Rizal was not rich enough to support the family style. Despite the failure of his marital plan, Rizal remained a friend of the Boston family. He was a welcome guest at Villa Eliada, the Boston Villa in Biarritz.